It's not you.
Very clear now, very clear. We can see you clearly, but you're on mute.
Oh, yes, definitely. Yes, yes. I think now it's much more better. I can also see
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took me a while because I had to reorganize all my decks, and
Yeah.
now I'm facing the window, so it's much more better now.
Yes. Hello, Hulda, how are you? You're on mute.
Sorry.
Now we can hear you. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good.
Happy
good.
to
And
see
where-
you.
Good. Same here. Where are you located?
I'm in China,
Which city?
Tianjin.
Aha.
Jean.
Got it.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm at Tianjin.
Wonderful.
so Mr.
Is-
Modin, how about you? In which country are you now?
Right. I'm still on Earth.
Oh, where? To be precise, where are you?
Yes.
We were in China. Hulda, me, and I think most of the guys
Most
connected
of the
today
team?
are in China.
Yeah. I'm right now sitting in India.
India.
In the foothills of the Himalayas.
Oh, great.
So yeah, in a city called Dehradun. And
Oh.
but I live in I live on a little farm in the United States near the Columbia River, which is in the state of Washington.
Nice.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to be connected with you. We are really glad to be here with you, sharing the same platform.
Yes.
We hope to
Yeah.
learn a lot from you today.
Oh, it's a two-way street.
Professor
so
Chris.
Hey, Hulda, how
Happy
are
to
you?
see you. Happy New Year.
Okay, let me change my
Likewise,
background.
likewise. How are you?
I'm fine.
So are you in China now?
Yeah, I'm still in China. I'm in Tianjin.
So you never went back to your country, right? Because
No, I didn't have the chance.
So you were smart, so you didn't have to worry about coming back, right? It would have been very difficult for you to come back, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Wonderful,
reality
wonderful.
right now. That's the reality right now in China. Once you go back, it will be a little bit difficult for you to come back. So better stay where you are.
Yes, I am coming to China end of March. I mentioned to the team.
Okay.
I have not traveled there for last 3 years because of the COVID, but looks like the COVID is now under control, so I should be able to. I have told the university that Tsinghua University that I will come end of this March, and I have several meetings there. But I will also teach this course. This course will be this time will be hybrid, so we will do live for Tsinghua students and people who are in Beijing. But it will be also online for people who are in different countries, right? Okay.
Yes, they can join us
Yes,
wherever
yes.
they are, because it's a free online webinar. So anywhere you are in the world, you can
No,
just.
I'm going to charge both of you, Holda and Claudia. I'm going to send you the bill for all the courses. You better get some money from your country, okay?
No problem.
I know you're very sweet.
Just send the invoice. We are capable. We are able. Thanks so much. Okay, Hulda.
How many people are we? I see. Give them some more time. I think so. Maybe a few more minutes, right? So
Yes.
hold on. Why
Okay.
don't you? We have Claudie and Hulda, two moderators. I know Hulda very well. She has been my student, and so now she's part of my team. I use her for my TA team, so she's very
Okay.
big help to me. And
Okay.
Claudie, what you do? Tell me about your role.
First of all, thank Professor Chris. It's Professor Chris, right?
Yes.
Is your voice I'm hearing? Okay.
Yes.
I'm Claude Kiki. First of all, I'm from the same country with Ulda, Benin, located in West Africa. So in China, I'm doing my PhD. Currently in my 3rd year, I'm doing environmental science and engineering. And yeah, that's all I can say about myself. I'm also a member of the Farmers Federation of Student and Training in China, like Benin student in China, currently in China. So I'm also part of the member. So today I will be joining Uda for the moderation of this webinar, and I will be at the discussion session. I'll be moderating the discussion session. She will start first, and I will be.
Hold on. Are you the president of the OOAD, right?
No, I'm the general secretary.
You were the vice president before, right? Remember?
No, the secretary.
Secretary, I
see. Yeah.
So now you're a bigger boss. You are now a general secretary, right?
No. I'm just
She has always been a boss. Ulda is everywhere. She's managing many things. She's multitasked too. She can do many things at one at the time. We are learning. We are really proud of her, and we are really learning from her.
Hulda is part of my team. I have a TA team at Tsinghua. I include her in all my classes and programs. So now she cannot run away from me. So she is hired for life. So she has to work with me.
You see, that means she's really, really competent at what she does. That's good.
She has lots of energy, a lot of passion, a lot of drive, right, Hulda?
Exactly.
Thank you so much. I'm humbled.
Hulda, why don't you become the prime minister of your country? You should go run for election,
She's trying. She's pushing towards that.
Oh my God.
Because she's pushing. We are just we are waiting for her at the bigger positions. My country is proud to have and yeah, she's doing a lot already, but with time you're gonna hear about her in the executive position of my country.
I think that the Africa has.
But I like to be hidden.
Hey, hold on, we cannot hear you very well. Can you hear me? Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, your sound is a little bit low. Hold on, I can. Claudia is okay, but your sound is kind of low. But
oh my God, can you hear me now?
It's better, a little better, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think we can start.
Yeah, I think so. I think we got more than 26.
Let's start.
Yeah.
So first of all, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon. It depends on where you are following us from. And welcome to today's webinar on the digital transformation strategy for Africa. My name is Hulda. I'm PhD candidate at Nankai University, Beninese, but also the General Secretary of the Organization of African Academic Doctors. I'm honored to be your host today alongside my colleague Claude Kiki for this very important and timely discussion as we delve into the topic of digital transformation and its impact on the African continent. I would like to start by thanking every one of you for joining us today. Amen. The ongoing digital transformation has transformed every aspect of our lives, from the way we work, we play, to the way we interact and do business. The digital economy is rapidly reshaping our world and has become a driving force for the global economy. In Africa, where traditional business models, structures, and are often challenged, The digital economy and digital technology present a tremendous opportunity for entrepreneurs to reach new markets, drive innovation, build scalable businesses, create jobs, improve the quality of life for millions of people, and drive economic growth. Hence, it is clear that digital transformation of Africa is imperative, not a choice. However, realizing this potential requires a strategic and well-coordinated efforts by governments, businesses, and other stakeholders. In today's webinar, we will explore the challenges and opportunities presented by the digital economy in Africa and how a comprehensive digital transformation strategy can help unlock the full potential of digital technologies, entrepreneurship, and sustainable development on the continent. Our goal for this webinar is to help you understand the key elements of a successful digital transformation for Africa and provide you the tools and knowledge you need to make it happen in your own organization and communities. Our guest speaker, Professor Chris, brings a wealth of experience and insights, and I'm confident that this webinar will be valuable and enlightening experience for everyone involved. So let's start it. I will first hand over to Mr. President of FAMES Benin, Dr. Olulade, for the opening remarks. Mr. President, it is over to you. Mr. Olulade?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome.
Good afternoon,
The floor is
everyone,
yours.
and welcome to our joint webinar on digital transformation strategy. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So your voice is breaking.
I'm deeply pleased
President.
to be here today as the president of FAMES Benin. And in collaboration with the reputed OAD. Oh, is it okay now?
Yes,
Yes,
we can
better.
hear you.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
It's a little bit delayed,
Yes.
but we can hear you. You just have to put
I
a
would
pause
like
after
also
each
to-
sentence so we can hear you.
Okay.
Looks like he may have some low, slow
So
internet.
I would
Go ahead.
to Dr. Elijah Odi. Maybe recently they are not doing very well with the Wi-Fi problem. There are
Mokhtar, why
some
don't you
construction
turn your video off? Just use the audio.
going on.
Okay.
It is
Yeah, let's try
You,
that.
you may not have the enough bandwidth.
Yeah.
Turn the video
okay.
off.
Okay,
Okay.
Mokhtar, why don't you turn your video off? Yeah, there is a, looks like you have, yes, this is better. Now just use the audio.
Yes.
Is it better now?
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you.
yes,
much
we can
better,
hear
yes.
you.
Okay, nice. So I was saying that I'm extending a greeting to Dr. Elijah Odi, the president of OAD, who has been a tireless leader and advocate for transformation in Africa. I would like also to extend a warm welcome to our special guest, the prominent Professor Chris, who is leading expert in the field of digital transformation in developing countries. Professor Chris, thank you very much. Thank you once again for accepting giving us a talk. We are so fortunate to have the opportunity to hear from such an acquainted and professional individual, and I am confident that his talk will be priceless and very important in our understanding of the challenges and opportunities facing Africa today. As we gather here today to discuss the future of digital transformation in Africa, I cannot stress enough the importance of this topic for the future of our continent. The world is changing too fast, and it is in order to drive economic development. And I want to take a time to give some congratulations to my own country, because actually in the West Africa, Benin is the leading country in terms of digital economy. I'm confident also that today's webinar will be a rich and innovative experience with knowledge and idea that will help us all to better understand the challenge and the opportunity that we are facing in Africa. So without further ado, I would like to turn things over to the moderator and get this webinar underway. Thank you very much. Have a great listening.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. President, for the opening remarks. Before we continue, I would like to present our partners. Before we go to the business of the day, please allow me to present the partners of this webinar. Sorry. Please, can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay. So sorry for that.
Yeah, it can be seen some second ago. Yes, now it's
Can
on
you
again.
see it now?
Yeah,
Okay,
now it's on.
thank you very much. This webinar has been co-organized by OAAD and FAMES Benin. So FAMES Benin in French stands for Fédération des Amicales des étudiants et stagiaires béninois en Chine. In English, we call it Federation of Beninese in China. La Fédération des Amicales des étudiants et stagiaires béninois en Chine, of Federation of Beninese Students and Trainees in China, is established 12 years ago and has for vision to create space which applies to the constant search of solutions for development within the framework of Sino-Beninese cooperation. In addition to establishing a climate of fraternity between the members, the diaspora, and any other social group living in China, one of its missions is to carried by its think tank team is to conduct all communication strategy to the general public, elected officials, media, and the public authority to promote Benin in even Africa in order to make contribution to its development program by promoting digital economy, among others. So let's move to the second partner, that is the OAAD. OAAD, Organization of African Academic Doctors Global. The Organization of African Academic Doctors is a non-profit organization that is open to PhD holders and PhD students of African descent across the globe. Established as an academic research implementation and development center, the vision of the OAAD is to enhance the quality of life in Africa through research, technology, and innovation. We have a mission statement, Doctoring Solutions for Africa and the world, and our main objective is to bring African intellectuals together and foster development while encouraging relevant internal and external stakeholders. So this being said, we will move to the business of the day. Let's move to the business of the day. Today, our guest speaker is Professor Chris. Professor Chris is the CEO of the SRII institute that is in the Silicon Valley. He's also a technology advisor for the CTO office at M5 Networks. He's also the advisor at Cortex Labs, advisor at MSU. He's also held important positions at IBM, Intel, among others. He's also a distinguished visiting professor at Tsinghua University. Our professor is so multidimensional that it is difficult to introduce himself. So let's welcome our guest speaker, Professor Chris, which will introduce himself better and then take us to the first topic of today's webinar. Professor Chris.
All right, thanks, Hulda. Thank you, and I'm very glad to be here. I believe many of you on this call have attended my class at Tsinghua University, online or on the campus. I know Hulda has, and I'm sure there's many of you have. But let me share some of my slides. But I want this discussion to be more interactive, not just I talk and share slides. I will use some of them, but I want you to ask questions and we will have discussions. You can send questions through the chat box and I will try to answer them, or we can hold the discussion at the end. Maybe that's easier. So let me first share with you a few slides, and I have also invited a guest speaker, Mudit from F5, and I will introduce him to talk about application economy, the subject that I'm personally very connected and also working with F5 CTO office. But let me first share with you some of the slides I wanted to, how do they share? Okay. All right, you can all see my slides, right? Can you see it, okay?
Yes, Professor Chris, we can see your slide.
All right.
Yes, we can see it.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let me first reintroduce myself. I think Hulda has given a very big introduction of me, but I would like to make it more simple. So I am here in Silicon Valley, where I lead an organization called SRII, which stands for Service Research and Innovation Institute. And I will discuss some of the details of what we do in SRII. And basically, we were looking for defining service from two dimensions. One is a technology as a service and economy as a service, and connecting these two pieces together to help drive technology implementation to different sectors of economy. Okay, and and I will come back to have more discussions on the subject as we go. As far as the teaching at Tsinghua University, some of you have attended my program. In fact, I will introduce you our next program, which is starting in March. And some of you will see this slide or this flyer. I have distributed to many of the WeChat groups, and I would encourage you to participate. And this particular program is where we teach about technology and economy and education and innovation and entrepreneurship. We cover many topics, and the way we approach this program is we discuss major sectors of economy and major technology topics, advances in technology, advances in economy, and we invite many speakers from industry and subject matter experts to come and share. So it's not just me, but there are 20-30 other speakers who are my colleagues and friends in Silicon Valley and around the world. they come and share with you the expertise. This program lasts for 4 weeks. 2 weeks are lectures, 10 days, and then the other 2 weeks you work on group projects and submit your reports, and then you get certificate for this program. So this is this program has become very big and global. We have several hundred people attend every session. So I would encourage you to participate and share with your colleagues and friends and other organizations to participate, okay? Let me move on to this, the digital technology and digital economy and take you through some background. I understand not all of you come from technology background, but the era we are in, the digital economy around the world, it requires all of us to understand technology, at least at the working level, whether you are a business major or liberal arts or any other major. It's important for you to understand the basic building blocks of technology. So technology has become, as all of you know, has become integral part of our daily life. So the history of computer, this is a slide that I use it in my class all the time. It gives a history of how our human civilization has evolved from being an animal and then grew into a human, and then we learn how to use computers. But this particular next slide is gives you the whole history of several hundred years of how our civilization has evolved from a stone age to metal age to a steam engine to industrial revolutions and XYZ. I don't need to walk you through the whole history of thousands of years. But the key point I want to mention here is the digital technology. It started somewhere around 1960s. That's where we built transistors. We started building computers. The internet started in 1974. So 1970 is where we started building PCs and internet and others. So from 70s to 2020, it's only 50 years history. And the important point is, in just 50 years, the world has changed so much in a positive way because of technology. We have transistors, we have computers, we have internet, then we have all kinds of a smartphone and IoT and all sorts of digital tools and technology, which makes our life far more productive. So the digital technology has provided a human productivity of many thousands of times more productive than what we had in thousands of years history of human civilization. So that's one point, that digital technology, how it has made this world so much productive. And the whole economy of the world is now based on digital technology being the foundation, the key driving force. So that's one message. The second message is the rate of digital technology is moving very, very fast. So from, as we said, from transistors to computers to internet to smartphone to IoTs, all these things have happened in the last 30, 40 years. And more importantly, the rate of the innovation happening even more faster. So the key message here is digital technology is changing the world in a much, much profound way than we ever had anticipated. It's going to change not just economy, but change the society and how we live, how we work. And of course, economy is the foundation of for us to survive. So that's the key point. Learn as much about technology, be friends with technology, because technology is going to be the holy grail of us as a society to move forward, okay? This particular slide talks about the pace of innovation happening much, much faster than it has ever happened before, right? just give you one very recent example, as most of you have heard. Chat GPT just got announced in November, a couple of months ago, right? And Chat GPT, which is basically a search based on AI, artificial intelligence chat box, right?
Yes.
Compared to the search engine that Google has built and other people who had provided a lot of value. Now suddenly the whole search world is now panicking. What's going to happen with ChatGPT? How is it going to change the whole search business, right? So this is just one example of how fast technology are changing, that you cannot rely on something that we invented a few years ago to be there forever. Somebody will come and create something new, which will offset or make the other technology become somewhat less important, or maybe in some cases obsolete. So the rate of technology innovation happening very, very fast. To some extent, it is happening at a sort of a scary speed that even technologists are trying to figure out. We talk about AI and others, and I will discuss a little more all the advantages of AI and how technology is moving. But we also have to be careful that technology innovations and applications are handled in a disciplined way, because if we don't, then technology also can create some problems if we are not careful. And that's something we will discuss in a second. So coming back to the growth of technology, and this slide I have shared in my class, some of you have attended before, but this gives you a kind of bigger picture how technology field is evolving. So from transistors and computers and internet gave rise to all these building blocks of we call them technology foundation. Mobile, cloud, big data, AI, social networking. These are quote unquote foundation of the technology. These foundations are providing new accelerated industry or applications, 3D printing, renewable energy, IoT, nanotechnology, robotics, blockchain, and so on. And these new technologies are going to give rise to new economy, which is this slide that you see is just beginning to see next generation of businesses and next generation of industries created by this technology. So this kind of gives you a bigger picture of where we come from, where we are, and more importantly, where we are headed. So we are still very much in the earliest stage of the quote unquote technology growth and the impact of technology in the real world, okay? Now let's come back to the particularly this group that most of you are from Africa, and as Holda and others know, I have a special interest in working with emerging economies, because emerging economies, particularly Africa, is where a large number of people, 1.3 billion people, 1.4 billion people live in Africa alone. America has only 300 million people, right? So you can imagine 4 times more people live in Africa than in US. And Africa is a country where you have a lot of young generation, younger people, and middle class, and technology adoption, some government focus, and good farming land, good tourists. A lot of good stuff are there. There is still a lot of work needs to be done. How do we make the country and the people more innovative and provide a better economy, better education, better technology, better industry? So coming back to, from that perspective, if you look at digital economy, I showed you how our economy has evolved over the last few hundred years, from a stone age to metal age, but we started becoming more human from agriculture economy. Everybody was a farmer, right? And then from agriculture economy came industrial economy, where we learned how to build cars and airplanes and other industrial tools. And then came computers. chips and computers and gave rise to internet economy. Now the new era is what we call the knowledge economy, okay? It's no longer just technology, it's how we use technology to provide bigger value. And this is where human skills becomes most important. Okay, and this is why I have agreed to come and discuss with you, because all of you are young people from Africa and you are the future leaders of the country, of countries, and your skills and your expertise is what going to help drive the Africa economy to the next level. So knowledge economy is where what you know, your skills, your expertise, it matters. It doesn't matter where you come from. Now, what technology has done, it has sort of made the ground more even. There was a time where all technology was innovations happening in Silicon Valley. You have to go to the top school and stay in Silicon Valley, have access to venture capital and Stanford and MIT and others. Now, in this knowledge economy, you can be anywhere in the world. You have access to knowledge on your fingertip. You can learn everything, almost everything, right, online. Okay, that did not exist before. So now your power is infinite. Okay, your value is no longer defined by where you were born, which school you went to, how much money your parents had. It's all about your knowledge, your expertise. Okay, and that's why this topic, its subject is so important for people in Africa, because you want to use the young people, the expertise and knowledge to build the future of your country. Not just future of your own career, but future of the society and the country that you live in, right? Let me come back to some fundamental, I call them foundation of digital economy. What is digital economy? Digital economy is nothing but a connection. It's a people, process, infrastructure, all those businesses all connected together to create new business opportunities, right? To do this, there are some basic pillars of foundation you need. Number one, you need infrastructure, right? Roads, airport, electricity, water, and so on. And I think Africa as a country, there is it's getting better compared to in the past, but there's still a lot more work needs to be done to continue to build more robust infrastructure, right? Then comes the digital infrastructure, which is about technology, about data, about all the infrastructure that you build to run your digital economy, the computers, the internet, and all the gears you need, tools and technology to run the digital infrastructure, right? And then you need enabling environment. This is where government and academia has a role to play to make sure we have the right policy, we have right regulations, we have right investments, we have right amount of money, and all the ecosystem partnership, right? Then comes more specific technologies, right? How do we learn about AI, data analytics, cyber technology, applications, and XYZ? So these are more specific skills from technology. And then we come to the quote unquote human capital. And this is where knowledge and expertise and entrepreneurship that you are learning matters. So these are quote unquote the pillars, what defines the success of digital economy, not just in Africa, but all over the world. But you can relate these building blocks to your country, where you are, what more work needs to be done, and what's your specific role where you can help, right? Once you understand some of the building blocks, right? Now moving on to the technology of digital economy, again, to looking at where we have started, where we are today, and where we are headed. So I explained to you from the transistors and computers, then we built internet. So internet was where we have a lot of computers connected together. We shared emails and all the data. Then came the smartphones and the sensors and IoT world, which gave us rise to a much more interactive, much more complex infrastructure, complex technology framework to do business, right? And that gave rise to the era of, we call them IoT and smartphones. Now we are moving to the newer model, which is called the era of digital transformation, where all this technology that we have built is changing our social infrastructure, how we work from physical to digital and how we interact with each other. That's where we are going through this, how the businesses are being transformed because of all the technology, how we create new businesses. So this is the era that we are going through because of all this building blocks of foundation of technology that we have created, right? Coming back to the growth of digital economy, and this is one of my favorite slides. If you go back 20 years ago, in 2001, the big industry were not digital. They were oil, gas, and banks. All the top, if you look at the top 5 industries or companies, there was only one. Microsoft was a digital IT company. Everything else was either oil or finance, okay, or retail. In 2016, all big companies are now digital companies. So that tells you the oil and bank didn't disappear, they're still there, but the growth happened in the digital industry. So now all the top 5 companies in the world are all digital companies, all IT companies. So that tells you the growth of digital economy, how fast and how it has changed the whole industry sort of landscape, right? Then this slide I have used again in my class, and it's also a very good example of how digital technology is changing our business models and how new businesses are created. If you look at Uber or Didi in China, or other taxi system that you have in your country. They are the largest taxi company without owning any taxi by the Uber. It's all owned by private. So it said Uber is nothing but a technology platform which created this business, right, of shared ride, right? Okay, taxi business without owning any car, because of technology, right? Uber is nothing but a digital platform which allows individuals to do business of giving people ride and making money. And that became the largest taxi company in the world, right? Airbnb is the hotel you can rent from private people, and that is much larger hotel system than other big hotels, commercial hotels, right? A Skype and WeChat that we use today is all free, right? It's not owned by telecom, right? It's all digital platform built on telecom platform by the other companies, right? Okay. Facebook, social networking. The content is created by individuals, not by Facebook. Okay. Netflix provides a movie. It's not a movie hall. They're the largest movie hall without owning any movie hall. So these are just a few examples how technology has redefined our businesses or created new businesses. And this is just the beginning. You will see many more businesses will be created. Old businesses will be replaced by the new technologies. Okay. This is a very interesting slide, and that's quite relevant for this crowd, this group here. It shows, it came from the World Economic Forum. We have gone through a very last 3-4 years. We went through pandemic, and pandemic created major sort of, challenges for economy and society as a whole. But thanks to technology, because of technology, we were able to sustain the economy, continue to do business. In fact, technology company, the IT company did not suffer within the pandemic. In fact, they did better because people needed more technology to continue to work from home and not go to office. So IT company and technology company were the big help to continue our economy to a reasonable level, right? The key point here is we are projecting the next couple of years, economy is going to be in a slowdown mode in the global economy, and also advanced economy are going to see much bigger slowdown. But the good thing is emerging economies are going to have a much faster growth than the advanced economy. Okay, so this is the very positive news for countries in Africa, that you and other emerging economies are going to play even a bigger role in this new sort of as we rebuild our economy and rebuild the technology applications and so on. Okay, this slide I wanted to share with you about how technology and business innovation works. So I showed you this slide before, how Uber and Netflix and WeChat, new platforms have created new businesses. And this particular slide talks about how technology drives new business, but also how business innovation drives new technology. So this is a very important slide, and I want us to, it's not just technology always is the driving force. It's also economy. If you innovate economy correctly, it can help you build new technology. So let me give you an example of two very successful companies. Look at Amazon and Google, completely two different companies. Google business was search. They came up with the search algorithm, which allows us to do search very, very fast and search a lot of information very quickly, right? And then they started selling ad from that search algorithm. There was no ad business before Google, online ad. Google innovation in search allowed them to create new business called ad business, online ad, okay? Because of the technology they created for their search. So this is an example where technology created a new business, which is ad, came from search algorithm. Look at just the opposite. Look at Amazon. If you look at the history of Amazon, Amazon was selling books online, okay? Jeff Bezos thought that we should be able to sell books online, not just in a bookstore. And then he started selling books online, and then he realized that he can sell more and more stuff online. So he started selling other house appliances and tools and everything else. And to sell, and he found that there was suddenly big demand for people who wanted to buy things online and not go to a store. So online big business became very attractive, and that online business, to drive innovation in online business, Amazon built something called cloud computing. Because if you go back to history, how cloud computing was built was created by Amazon. To sell more stuff online, they needed an IT infrastructure better than what we had before. So to innovate IT infrastructure to sell more things online, that innovation in IT infrastructure became what we call them cloud computing. Cloud computing today is a very big business. Now Amazon and Microsoft and Google and IBM, there are many players now, right? So my key point here is Technology drives new businesses, but also new business innovation will help you build new technology. Okay? So it's a two-way traffic, okay? I'm going to fast forward some of the stuff. As you can see this slide, traditional economy, every traditional economy is going to be completely changed into quote unquote digital economy. Everything is going to be driven on the digital platform. And the other important thing is those economy, those business which is not digital will not be very productive, will not be very high value add, will not provide high income. Okay? There is still some jobs that computers cannot do. Maybe someday robot can go do make hotel bedroom beds or clean the hotel kitchen. It's possible and it's already happening to some extent, but it will still take time. There will be always some work that is still will be manual. But the point is, if those jobs which are not based on digital platform will not be very productive, will not be very high value add, will not provide big income. Okay, so the key message is we must drive digital solutions and platform and applications to every business model possible. Okay. I just saw this slide today. In fact, I just want to share with you. One of the subjects I mentioned about the infrastructure, and Africa is a very classic example where still, I'm not sure the percentage, maybe 30% people still don't have access to the internet. Okay, from last chart number I saw somewhere. So for any part of the world, infrastructure is the basic necessity and the most important necessity to drive digital economy. What this slide shows is how now many organizations are building the undersea cables around Africa. So very soon Africa will have digital infrastructure in very much in line with the other advanced economies, which is a very, very positive news. Okay. This slide is basically, I was saying before, we have 7.8 billion people. We have cell phone, because a lot of, but we have only 4.9 million people have internet access, right? So almost 38% people don't have internet around the world. So that's still a big, big gap that we need to address. And I just showed you the slide that how Africa is putting the underground cable, right? Back to Africa, I think you saw I sent a note in my post LinkedIn, and I've shared with most of you, and I highlighted these things. Africa has some unique opportunities. It is a large population and a growing population. It has a rising middle class. It has a younger population. It has economic growth of some companies, or even digital technology companies are coming up. People are getting more and more comfortable with technology. Innovations happening. May not be happening fast enough, but it's happening. Government is also getting sort of, very involved. Still a lot more work needs to be done from the government side, but at least government realizes, because I do talk to several government organizations, they're very eager. In fact, what I find is talking to government people, they all want to do these things, but in many cases, they lack expertise. They lack the knowledge. They lack the resources. They lack the how to get these things done. And this is where the groups like you, the young people like you, can be a big asset to the country and to the government. Provide those expertise to the government and industry. Of course, we have some challenges. We have lack of capital. How do we attract more funding? And again, the funding depends on many things. And most important thing is the your talent. If you have a smart people, a skilled people, money will follow. Money will follow you. You don't need to go look for money. The venture capital people, I have many friends in venture capital. They look for a smart people, not just in Silicon Valley, but they look for people all over the world. Okay. So important thing is to build the expertise, build the skills, right? And the capital will come. Okay. Weak infrastructure, I think is happening, but there is still a lot more work needs to be done. Government, a stable government, strong regulations, those are still a lot of work needs to be done. And then lastly, the subject of skills and expertise and entrepreneurship that this program is all about is a big factor. And I'm very glad that people on this call and many more I have met in my class at Tsinghua University. I find people from Africa, they are as hardworking, as smart as anybody in Silicon Valley. Okay. And there's no reason why they cannot be as successful in their own country. So the skill building and building the expertise is going to be the biggest driving force for the Africa as a country or continent, but also you as an individual, your skills are going to define your success. And the future of the job, and I think I will mention somewhere, is going to be very different than the jobs of the past. Jobs are going to be very dynamic. Jobs will be replaced by the new jobs because of technology, mostly because of technology. So the learning and relearning is going to be a very important discipline. Skills, it's not that you learn one subject and you are done with your, that was economy in 70s, 60s, 50 years ago. Now, you will need to learn new skills almost every few years, all the time, to stay productive and have a job. And jobs are no longer about going and collecting paychecks. Jobs should be about building solutions, providing some value to the community, to the economy, to your country. That's the real value of a job, that we all should have a vision and a passion and drive to build that kind of career where we can create unique value for society and for ourselves. Okay. Let's talk about some skills. I think I discussed briefly before, but I want to take you a little bit more deeper in technology side. I think out of all the topics you hear today, the AI and machine learning, and this is the hottest topic everywhere, right? Because, and I'll come back to you in a second, what has happened in AI and machine learning is this topic is not new. AI and machine learning has been taught for several decades. But in the last 10 years, we had a very unique or great innovations in compute power, storage, algorithm. So we have compute power, we have billions of transistors. We have 10 years ago, we had, if we had a billion transistor on one chip, that was very big deal. Today we have 40 billion transistor on one microprocessor, which is nail size, 40 billion. Just imagine the compute power of microprocessor or computer chip has exponentially exploded. So we have a lot more compute power, number one. Because of cloud computing, we can store information all over the world. You don't have to store on your PC and a smartphone. You can put everything in the cloud. So storage is infinite. Compute is infinite. And we have very advanced algorithm today. So those three things combined together, advanced algorithm and lots of compute power and lots of storage, has given rise to AI, or making AI much more meaningful, much more real. And that's why AI is getting such a big topic, and so much applications are happening related to AI. Okay. Next to AI is data science, and data analytics and data science is foundation of AI. Everything depends on data. In fact, we call them, we are a data economy. Our economy depends on how much data, who has how much data, okay? And how we understand our data, okay? So understanding data skills, data science, analytics, understanding AI. Cybersecurity is a very big subject because of we have billions of devices, from computers, PCs to smartphones to sensors, and they're all connected all over the world. How do we make sure that they are all secure? So at one hand, internet wants to connect everything everywhere, but we also understand we want to connect these things in a secured way, so the bad characters don't do bad things online. So this is where cybersecurity becomes important. How do we do cybersecurity at the network layer, at the data level, also at the intelligence level? So there are different layers of security, and if I have time, I will discuss with you more. Cloud computing, as I mentioned before, Amazon has started, AWS, Microsoft, Google, these are the three top cloud computing. Now, cloud is moving to the new era called edge computing, because cloud is a bit too far. We want to process data faster. We want that the processing to happen much faster, and for that processing to happen faster, you need the infrastructure, what we call the edge computing, closer than sending your data to Amazon, AWS, or Microsoft Azure, or cloud, Google Cloud. Okay, so that's a big thing. Blockchain is a decentralized ledger system which has started with the cryptocurrency, but it has applications all over many different industries now, right? I'm going to fast forward. I think I mentioned software development, IoT, full stack development, all these things are happening. And these are all innovation area that all of you need to focus. Many of you are already involved, but you all will need to get more better expertise, okay? Mobile technology, virtual and augmented reality, all these are very new topics, but very exciting, okay? Okay. Now let me come back to, and I want to discuss a few more things, but success in your life, we all talk about success, and we all talk about how people are successful and what makes people successful by looking at from the ultimate, the outside. But if you look inside, people who are successful, or anything success, requires a lot of hard work, okay? Many failures, many disappointments, a lot of dedication, a lot of persistence, right? And then people see success on the top, but under the success, it requires lots and lots of work that needs to be done. I'm going to fast forward. These are all a little more technology oriented. It deals with the data analytics. I have invited Mudit here. Let me get Mudit online, and then I will come back. These are a lot of slides I have on many technology that I need to, if I have time, I'll come back and share with you. So this is the slide that I want Mudit to, Mudit, are you there? Can you hear me? Mudit?
Yes, I'm here.
I'm not sure.
I'm here.
Okay, Mudit, so I'm going to introduce you using this slide because Mike and me have used this slide before. So, and this is where I will introduce this company called F5. And I've invited Mudit to come and discuss the subject of application. We call them application economy. So I've given you enough information, and I think this will help you understand how digital economy and digital enterprise, digital services, and digital architectures, the different layers. Under those layers are all these infrastructure applications, data, security, automation, and so on. So I've invited Mudit from F5. F5 is a company here in US. They're headquartered in Seattle, but they have office in Silicon Valley. The CTO of F5 gang is a very close friend of mine, and I'm also an advisor to them. And I'm very impressed with some of the work they do, particularly from the application security, application delivery. And I wanted you to get a little more insight of a company who is working on this subject. So Mudit, why don't you spend 15, 20 minutes discussing this, right? I hope I have given enough background for you to take it from here, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Is it possible to for me to share my screen?
Yes, I'm going to, let me first unshare, then you can share yourself. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me unshare. Hold on, how do I do this?
Or you can just pull up my slides.
Just a second, no, I think, I don't know how I did this. How do I unshare?
I think you go back to things software.
Okay, I got it,
can,
hold on.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, I got it. Stop that new.
Come below,
I think
come below Tencent software.
I got it. Stop sharing. Okay, hold
Oh,
on.
okay.
Stop share. Hold on. Just a second.
Cool.
No, I think I stopped sharing, right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
You did. Okay,
You
I can
did,
take
you
over.
Wonderful.
So as I pull up my slides, first of all, it's just a pleasure to see all of you here. Little bit on F5. Our CEO, Francois Loco-Jonu, is from your neighboring country, Togo. And our CTO, Gang Lin, from China, right? Originally from China. F5 is a very human-first company. So, you know, the culture that Francois has created is one of caring. We are a technology company, but, you know, I can tell you that every F5er thinks a lot about what impact they're having on the world, which is extremely special in the technology world. So I've spent all my life, done 4 startups, built 2 little companies. I've been acquired into larger companies. And after a lot of research and thought, I found F5 to be extremely attractive, not only from technology point of view, but also from their values point of view. So now let me share my screen and share some things that we have learned at F5, which should help you. Let's get the logistics done. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The screen can be seen, yes.
So now let me go into, and are you able to see the slide should now be in presentation mode?
Absolutely.
Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, you know, one of the things that Professor Chris pointed out, democratization of innovation is very important to equalize power around the world, in my opinion, right? So it shouldn't be the case that just Silicon Valley is producing new applications and you know, in controlling how the world is interacting with technology. And of course, you know, with the venture capital and the infrastructure powerhouse present in Silicon Valley, it's a lot easier for people to get things going there and generate a lot of value, become rich, start influencing the globe, right? It should be the case, we hope, that that we can democratize that a little bit, and people around the world can begin to create technology that is significant for their environment. As it may have global implications, but it's significant for their communities. And the return shouldn't just be monetary. It should also be lifestyle. We should be able to breathe the air we live in. I'm sitting here in Dehradun, beautiful mountains, but cannot go outside because of pollution. So we've done something weird. And you know, people in Silicon Valley are not thinking about problems of Dehradun. I want to give you an example. About 15 years ago, we started an education program in 5 villages in India. About 8 years into it, young people learned computing, and they learned how to write applications. And today, so about 13 years later, there's a big fintech in India, an emerging fintech, and the code for this fintech was written in a cowshed in a village, in one of these 5 villages, by the students, both men and women, who came out of the education program. These students did not own any land. Their parents did not own any land. Their parents were migratory workers who would go from one village to another. So these are children who had absolutely no resources. And with hard work, with persistence, a little bit of infrastructure, we made it possible for them to gain access to internet and provided education. They are writing the code for one of the emerging fintechs out of Bangalore in India. So for me, this is lived life. These are not just words. So I'm really hoping, you know, that you will feel encouraged and inspired and you know, play a big role in using technology responsibly. With that, let me come to 5's study. What I'm showing you is a study of what is happening in the world of applications. We've seen that applications have become fundamental to business. So, you know, physical businesses no longer can survive without having a digital component, without having a digital presence, without having a way to connect with their users and customers in a digital fashion. I think we saw the example of Uber and Airbnb, etc., which is basically connecting people with each other through digital communication mechanisms. So what we see today is that most enterprises are using between 200 to 1,000 applications. 1,000 is too much. It becomes very complicated to manage all those applications. And we see that the big focus for these enterprises is to produce digital experiences for their customers. But in order to stay competitive, they also have to digitize their internal processes. Another concept, you know, that is emerging is we have information technology. So, you know, the applications get built, digital experiences get built, they get delivered on infrastructure managed by IT team members. But then there's also operational technology, has different meanings. So the easiest one is if you think about SCADA devices or devices, these are robots or little computing engines that are managing manufacturing floors and managing the process of manufacturing. That's one example of operational technology. But now you have newer facets to operational technology. So things like collecting telemetry from how the consumers are interacting with digital experiences and using that telemetry, changing the experience for the end user on the fly. being able to collect. So that's a business result, right? I'm giving the users new experiences based on the telemetry that I'm gathering. Similarly, securing the operations of securing the applications, keeping the user safe, keeping the data that they're sharing safe, keeping the application running, making sure that it's not brought down by attacks. To do all this, we collect a lot of telemetry to make sure that everything is running normally. And based on changes in environment, we can take actions, business actions, changing the experience, and security actions, making sure that if we see an anomaly, we are able to mitigate it before it does harm. Scaling actions, if we see that a lot of users are coming, automatically scale up the application. So there's a convergence of operational technology with information technology. And we also see that there's so much information being generated that enterprise IT and operations teams cannot consume it, humanly cannot consume it. So we have to get smart about all this and leverage artificial intelligence. So we see in enterprises, lines of businesses are using artificial intelligence on the data related to how consumers are consuming the applications, but security and IT operations folks are also using artificial intelligence as they look at operational data that is coming in from the infrastructure where the user experiences are being delivered. And another thing that we see is that most enterprises actually don't have the insights that they need. This is still a work in progress. So if you were a geek focused on how to make applications work really, really well, which is what F5 is, our whole existence is on making it possible for entrepreneurs like yourselves, other businesses who create applications and deliver applications. Our whole life is about how to make the process of making applications work easy. So we're very geeky about that. And what we notice is that the work that we need to do in the industry is to figure out more insights from the applications, automate decision-making about how to make the applications run smoothly, and we call that adaptive applications. So this is a summary. And I like to go through the summary up front when I have limited time. So I've given you all the punchlines here. And now I'll speed through some details. So, when we think about digitization and we look at the enterprises that we surveyed, the enterprises are organizations, enterprises, nonprofit organizations, governments. They are in 3 phases when it comes to digitization. So first is just automation of processes and tasks. Then second one is digital expansion. So take your physical shops, digitize them. Take your physical ways of connecting with end users, digitize them. And then those who are the teams within the organizations that are maturing quickly are starting to use AI in assisting the business. And we see that enterprises are doing the process of automation, and based on where we are in the world of technology, AI has become much easier to use. And there's a lot of inspiration with ChatGPT and other success stories related to AI that we see that, as people are beginning to automate their processes, they're already thinking about how to leverage AI. And we see that there's a lot of focus not only on consumer applications, but also modernizing the back office. And the challenge that enterprises are facing is how to, bring up applications really quickly. So as an entrepreneur, I imagine that you're thinking of writing applications. In fact, let me say this, take a break from F5 for a second. My personal experience is that, you have to try 10 things before one succeeds. So let's simplify that statement. Perhaps you will think of 10 different applications and deliver them one after another. So it should be, in order for you to be able to do that, we need to give you, as experts in the world of how to make it easy to deliver applications, we need to give you the ability to try to build your application and deliver it quickly. So you can try 10 different things, and then one of those 10 will succeed. For existing enterprises, you saw they're doing 200 to 1,000 applications. And the challenge is, how do you provide consistent security and mechanisms for deployment? So this is what we focus on a lot as we do our work. One thing that Professor Chris showed you how quickly things are changing in the world of technology. In the world of application delivery, they're changing super fast. So there are newer and newer programming languages that emerge. So you just finished learning Node.js and React Native to do your phone application. The people previous to you were using Python, and now already you're behind if you don't know Go, right? So even from a developer point of view, things are constantly changing. From a deployment mechanism point of view, things are changing. You're deploying on premises, but you're also deploying in the cloud. For certain things, you are choosing, if let's say you have an application that delivers music, you may choose Amazon for a certain portion of your application, Google for another portion of your application. And so, applications are being delivered as I don't even think of it as an application now. I think of it as an app composite, which has different components. And all of these components may even be written in different languages. They may live in different places. They may use different software architecture. Some of them may use microservices. Some of them may use old legacy monolithic application, right? But all of these components come together to deliver an experience for your end user. This is getting pretty complex. And the challenge is, to gain visibility in each component so that you can tell when something is not working for the end user, which component failed, and then to secure these components in a consistent way. They're so different from each other. How do you secure them in a consistent way? This is becoming fairly complex. That we notice and we help our customers with dealing with this complexity. The other thing that we see is the decision for how and where do you deploy the application is now not based on the convenience of the technical people. It's based on the convenience of the user. And for these digital experiences, the users are global. They are everywhere in the world, and they're looking for speed. If you are interacting with an application and you don't get your response within a few seconds, you move on. So the location and the nature of the users is having a big role in how we decide where the infrastructure, where the application components get deployed. And we see adoption of edge because we want the application components to be closest to the user. So this is a new trend that we're extremely aware of, and we help our customers with adopting the edge. The other thing that I would say is, used to be the case that security was managed centrally and it was white and black, or it was very clear that this particular type of transaction is allowed, and this particular type of transaction is not allowed. It was very clear. There was no confusion. This is no longer the case. It's very complicated to tell when we discover an anomaly using artificial intelligence. Is it truly a security attack or not? Very hard to figure that out. The other thing to keep in mind is that enterprises will say, we need to keep our business running. If we have to turn off security controls to keep our business running, we will choose to do that. So for security teams, it's become extremely important to think differently. So now what we do is we don't think about these extremely clear rules about what to allow and what not to allow, but we collect a lot of operational data, a lot of telemetry, and build a context. So we do a lot of contextual analysis, and when we find an anomaly, we try to figure out what is our confidence that this is truly an attack, and then what is the risk to business if we don't do anything about this anomaly or this attack? How will that, harm the business? And we take these two things. We spend a lot of time using AI and machine learning to compute the confidence about an anomaly being harmful, and then the risk to business with respect to that anomaly. We take these two things and then try to automate a mitigation action, another aspect of adaptive applications. And the big things, big areas that are currently, this moment, emerging areas in our world are securing APIs and doing zero trust security and protecting your front end of your digital experiences using WAF, etc. So with that, I think I will close. The information that I presented to you is publicly available in our 2022 Application Economy Strategy Report. And welcome to study it. And I'm here. You can ask me whatever questions you have. With that, I'm going to stop sharing. Back to you, Professor Chris.
Hello. Thank you very much, Professor Modi, for your insightful presentation. I will hand over to Professor Chris. Professor Chris, can you get me? Hello, Professor, can you get me?
Yeah.
I can hear you now. Okay,
Chris.
okay, got it.
Okay,
I am okay. Now you can see my slides, right?
Yes, your screen can be seen.
Okay.
Yes.
So let me do a few minutes. I have a lot of slides, but I will kind of cut back on slides. I want to spend next half hour more discussing some question answers, okay? Because there is no end of talking technology. I want you to ask questions you have on your mind. But let me cover a few things now that we have talked about the application economy and how F5 is addressing this thing. Let me share with you some additional things that we do from SRII point of view. So as I mentioned, organization that I lead is looks at service from two dimensions, technology and economy. And then we look at, let's say, government. How do we make government more productive, right? So this is an architecture. We first look at what government is supposed to do. So these are different types of jobs, services the government provides to the citizen, right? And what we do is, how can government, what kind of tools, technology application we can provide to the government organizations so they can be more productive, do their job the best. So that's one example of how we look at every sector of economy and look at those sectors from what that sector is supposed to do and what kind of solution, digital solution we can provide them for them to be more productive. Okay, look at healthcare. Okay, how do we help healthcare? Healthcare has many different, it's a very complex field. Healthcare does many different things. How do we build the right tools, right technology, so the healthcare practitioner can manage the healthcare activities and be more productive, right? Okay, so these are some of the examples of how technology can be applied to healthcare: AI, 5G, big data, mobile technology, cloud computing, all technology that I have mentioned to you. They all have huge applications and need in sectors like healthcare. At the highest level, if you look at healthcare, healthcare is a very complex but also most expensive sector all over the world. In US and all over the world, government spends most money on healthcare because health management is a very complex subject. And what we have found, what we see today, our current healthcare system is more focused on quote unquote disease management. Okay, I mean, somebody gets sick, you go to a doctor and then you go through the treatment and all the other stuff. So yeah, from the people point of view, we don't, as an individual, we are not as smart about paying attention to our own health, and we wait for things to get really bad, then we go to doctor. And the hospital systems are also geared towards more disease management. What we're trying to do is help medical system to be more preventive. How do we work with citizens and the people and teach them, educate them?
Professor Chris, nice one.
Yes.
Kindly help us to maybe ask our attendees to leave the question in the chat box. Who that has put that in the chat box, but you can also voice it out so that they can hear and leave the question in the box. Thank you.
So please leave your questions in the chat box. And what I plan to do in next 10 minutes, I want to stop the slide business. I want to go back to the questions you have posted on the chat and also any other question you may have. So coming back to the healthcare, our focus is how do we make healthcare more preventive, not just reactive, okay? Because it's a lot easier for people to help people to stay healthy than people getting sick and then you would do the treatment. So, and the technology today we have is a lot more things. You can have wearables, sensors and others that can measure your blood pressure, sugar, many other things can be done by the technology, and you can monitor yourself or you can transmit the information to your doctor. Doctor can give you their feedback. So there is a lot of applications and needs in healthcare for digital technology to help, okay? Wearable sensors, medication, how people, artificial intelligence, how could a robot be your doctor? Look at this, Internet of Nanotechnology. There is it's still in the research, but how our inner system work? Can we get better tools and technology to understand what goes on inside, right? So this gives you some example of how our inner system works and how we can better monitor and measure and take preventive actions by having the right technologies to manage our healthcare. Okay, this is a little complex, so because of time saving, I won't go into too much detail, but I just wanted to share with you how we need to look at technology in a much more holistic way, right?
Yeah.
A smart city. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Chris and Professor Woody, for this interesting presentations. I'm confident that our participants have found the webinar both informative and thought-provoking. So without further ado, we will move to the interactive session that will be hosted by Professor Chris and Claude Kiki. Claude Kiki is one of our most prominent PhD candidates in environmental science at Engineering University of Chinese Academy of Science. He's also a very active member of FAMES Benin, which is the Federation of Beninese Students and Trainees Association in China. So over to you, Claude.
Okay, thanks so much, Ulda. Thanks for that warm introduction. Like you said, I'm Claude Kiki. I'm a PhD candidate. I'm doing environmental science and engineering at University of Chinese Academy of Sciences. And I'm also a member of FAMES Benin. So I'm honored to be your host for the discussion session of today's webinar. So I have seen everybody is quiet today. There's no question in the chat box, and I will sincerely invite you to raise your hand. If you want to talk, you can directly come up. Professor Chris is there, I'm here, I'm there. Professor Mudit is also there to attend to your question. So I invite you to join me in this exciting and important discussion as we explore together the opportunities and challenges presented by the digital transformation in Africa. I look forward to a lively and informative session, and I thank you for being here today. Please keep your question clear and precise, and let's get started. So if you have any question, kindly just raise your hand, your digital hand, as today we are talking about digital transformation. So just raise your hand so that I can allow you and the host as well. They will unmute you so that you can come up and ask your question.
Ask any question. Don't be shy. If you don't ask,
be shy, yes,
then we will ask you. I'll come to ask you. Go ahead.
So as they are yet to ask question, I have 2 or 3 questions. Okay. Some questions are coming up already. So the attendees first. I will directly read the questions. So Professor Chris, Professor Moody, are you there with us?
Yes.
Okay. So Mr. Edwin, he's saying, so what is digital transformation strategy for Africa? Is there 2 or 3 points we can focus on? So he wants just some key points, some takeaway message, like 2 or 3 points about digital transformation strategy for Africa. So Prof. Chris.
So I think as I mentioned in my discussion before, the most important element and foundation of digital economy is the people of that society and the country. So people are the building block of digital economy all around the world. Okay. So Africa needs to focus on a skill building, people, entrepreneurship, and you guys in this program are the most qualified to play a very strong leadership role, not just for yourself, but your country and society at large. You need to share that with your community leaders and government leaders to make sure there is a tremendous focus on building the skills, education, skill, entrepreneurship for digital economy. The second thing, which is more an infrastructure side, the government is doing, and a lot of global organizations are working. I showed you the slide, how they're putting fast internet cable in the sea around the Africa. And last one is the government regulations, and needs to be transparent. So people feel that the global ecosystem feels comfortable doing business with you. They should understand your system and so on. So those are from my perspective, those are 3-4 things that are key for building a stronger digital economy in Africa. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Chris. Okay.
At a high level, you know,
Yes.
as Professor Chris pointed out, there are things the government and perhaps some communication-oriented corporations need to provide, which is the infrastructure. But as I gave you the example of our 5 villages, where young people got trained and used this infrastructure and are now delivering in one of India's emerging fintechs. That's an important key thing to observe. I would recommend at an individual level, teach yourselves how to write applications. Teach yourselves how to write consumer experiences. It doesn't matter what your business is, if it's related to environmental aspects, you know, clean energy, etc., or if it's related to food production, doesn't matter. You are going to need to interact with your consumers digitally. So learn how to do that.
Okay. Thanks, thanks, Prof. Moody. Another attendee has asked, this is directed for Mr. Chris, for Professor Chris. Mr. Yosri has asked, he stated, we are living in the era of economic platforms. What do you suggest for entrepreneurs setting such kind of platform to consider in empowering cross-border entrepreneurship, China, Africa, and catalyzing digital economy in Africa? I think the question is a little bit long. I'm trying to catch the essence of the question. He wants to know, so what do you suggest for entrepreneurs setting such as kind of platform to consider while empowering the cross-boundary entrepreneurship between China and Africa? Professor Chris, can you get the question?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I followed the question correctly, but if I understood the words, your question has to do with the cross-border between Africa and China, and
yes.
entrepreneurship. So this is a very specific question between 2 countries, right? As an entrepreneur, you need to look at entrepreneurship is no longer a topic that you should be very narrow. What entrepreneurs should do in Africa, you need to learn entrepreneurship and that subject from all the experts everywhere in the world. Because now this digital technology and digital economy is a global subject. It's a global network. So yes, there are some subjects which are more regional, and there are some individual countries. China has with some specific country, and Africa has with China, and those are more specific initiatives and programs that you can work. But entrepreneurship as a subject should be a global subject, should not be confined to a regional level. Regional becomes a very regional topic. Healthcare and e-commerce on agriculture and XYZ, these are all global subject and requires global expertise. And if you are an entrepreneur, you should look for expertise and knowledge and learnings from as many people as possible and as many organizations around the world. But if you're, as I said, if you're just focused on a specific program that is between 2 countries, that is very specific. And then I can mention, if you give me the program name and topics, then I can provide some more guidance. But it's too generic, right? Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Yosri, I know you are hearing us. I hope I did not alter your question. Do you have satisfaction about
Ask him to, he can ask further questions, right?
Yes, he has another question for Pros Modit. So he said, how do you think we can use technology transfer and economy platform to democratize
entrepreneurship, innovation, and
entrepreneurship?
entrepreneurship?
Yeah, you can also see the question in the chat.
Yeah.
He used some
Oh, here, okay, I can read the, okay.
You can read directly.
Okay, now, I'm sorry, I wasn't reading it, now I can see it, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So look,
yes, you can go on, sir.
Yeah, I think, first of all, thank you for asking the question. You know, the practical thing about starting something new, about entrepreneurship, is that you build a solution. Let's say you build an app, right? Building apps is now highly possible for anyone. It requires a cup of coffee, right? A computer and internet connection and your own time, persistence. You learn how to build an app. You can build it, ship it on one of the clouds. Does not require capital investment. You don't need to open a factory. You don't need to have raw materials, etc. Right? So building digital experiences itself is highly democratized, or there's high potential for it being democratized, because if you can teach yourself and you have time, you can build digital experiences. And in my life, I have real examples of this. Now, the second aspect of this is, if we continue with the example of consumer applications, you build an application, you put it on Play Store. Doesn't mean people will download it and use it, right? There's a lot of stuff that has to happen before you get adoption of your idea. And if we were to discuss, steps for starting a new business, I would tell you that within 3 months, you should build something that you can test with some set of users. Think about that. That in order to test with those users, you need to have access to those users. To have access to those users, one thing is just connectivity and infrastructure, but the other thing is you got to know them. So when people build consumer applications, first they call all their friends, all their family members, and say, please download my app and try it out. So the learning that I've had is, if you're building something, let it have local relevance, so you can test it locally in your area, in your sphere of influence, and then let it be globally relevant, right? You can build something for your area, and once you're successful in that, you can expand globally, which is now available through the digital connectivity that we have in the world. The practical thing is, start, do something within your sphere of influence and then grow it. So I don't know if I directly answer your question, but I think everything we need to democratize innovation is now present. It's a question of, does your community, your parents, your teachers in your school, do they see it? And do they support you? And do they get you started even in
I think we are losing track with Professor Modi.
Let me add just a couple of comments on this. It's more a bigger subject. When you talk about entrepreneurship and innovation and building a career and building a focus, I can share with you something very personal. I have been in Silicon Valley pretty much all my life. I have worked from building transistors to microprocessors to computers to internet, worked with Intel and IBM, and studied physics and electrical engineering, computer science, all different subject management. But the most important thing that I learned was working with very, very smart people. Okay. And I was very lucky to work with Steve Jobs at Apple, work with Bill Gates at Microsoft, work with Andy Grove at Intel. I saw how Google was formed with Larry and Sergey, how other Amazon CTOs, how they run. No school or no book can give you that experience. So one of the advice I have for all entrepreneurs, find people who are super, super smart and very driven, very passionate, very visionary. Find also some mentors who you feel that has expertise, who can guide you. Okay, because that's very, very important for an entrepreneur. The books and other things can only take you so far, but your biggest motivation comes by working with people who are super, super smart and hardworking and very visionary people. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Okay, Mr. Yosri, I think your two questions have been addressed. Let's move to another query, the next query. There is Mr. Edwin. Edwin, let me just read literally the question. It's asking, on the issue of government regulation, could you also address the potential impact of the US-China tension in the tech space? How should Africa navigate? Can you read it?
Yeah, I can see it. The government, okay, so this is I have worked in the IT industry for many decades now, and I have worked with many countries, many at the company level. Now I work at a global level. So I have seen both sides, working from Intel and IBM as a company employee, then working at a global think tank lead that I lead now. Country politics, there were always regional politics, China, America, East, West, South, North. Those are, I wish there was no politics, but we are human. Humans have this, we have some of our weaknesses. We tend to look at some things with the political angle. But the short answer is, a country like Africa, you should not get too worried about, oh, US and China has this. They are two global powers, right? They both have strengths, right? Africa should try to do is, don't worry about their global sort of politics, but try to learn best from both sides, right? Okay, even I can tell you this, in America, even though there is a political tensions here and there, but American companies, they don't care about too much tension. They always look at global economy, building solution for the world, do the best you can. Yes, government sometimes interferes, but I feel that if you take a bigger view, bigger vision, then you don't let yourself come down at the political level. So the short answer is, Africa should not try to get into the power politics, because your goal should be, how do we learn best from everybody? That's one. There's another question I would like to answer here is local relevance. How do you cope with internal resistance to change and government regulations? That's very, very good question. And I think in my posting, I mentioned indirectly one of the challenge we find all around the world, particularly in emerging economies, government has a very big role to play, right? In United States, government has a role to play, but our economy is very private, and the industries are very big. the Microsoft and Intel and Google and Amazon and Apple, they are a global company. They don't get affected by, and they're private. So they work at a global level. For them, the government policy does not interfere how they run the business. The emerging countries don't have that, the system. First of all, you don't have those big industries who can work at a global level. So you have to work with the government. So you rely on government to be very productive, very efficient, visionary, smart, but not always the case that you get the smartest people doing the smartest things. So the best answer to this question is, you work. My experience working with emerging countries is that the way they act, not because they are looking to do bad things. They do because they don't know anything better. So our job should be to educate them, to talk to them, keep working with them, educating them, so they get the better answer. If you are persistent with your sort of better ideas, better answer, you should be able to convince them. Okay.
Thank Professor Prof. Thanks so much for those answers. I think we have skipped a question. It's from Pelayo. She wants to know, how can Africa's digital economies deliver inclusiveness? How can you can also see the question a little bit up in the chat box? How can Africa's digital economy deliver inclusiveness? What do you think about that? I don't really understand what kind of inclusiveness she wants. She's talking about.
I think we can imagine, inclusivity regardless of financial status, regardless of gender,
culture. Yes.
I think that the Africa, not just for Africa, it's all over the world. People, the quote unquote inclusive is a big topic. People are not differentiating between genders or race or who is rich, who is poor. People are getting their fair sort of, visibility and opportunities, but there's a lot more needs to be done, and this is where the government has a role to play. And also at a global level, there are global systems. The UN and other global bodies provides that kind of guidance and that kind of directives to government. Hey, you need to pay attention to X, Y, Z things. So people pay attention. This is an important subject, but my take on this thing is particularly related to Africa. There is a lot more learning we need to provide to the government leaders. And of course, your Africa is divided into what, 40, 50 countries, and it has a culturally very, very divided place. So it makes it harder. Smaller countries with a regional politics, regional culture. So it becomes a little difficult to look at Africa as a whole and address those issues, because they have to be addressed at a local level, right? Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. The next query here, I quickly rephrase. That's Mr. Ali. Mr. Ali wants to know how digital transformation can apply to civil engineering. Civil engineering? Yes, yeah. Civil engineering.
So, look, digital technology is not only applied to search and a smartphone. Digital technology is the foundation of every economy. So how the buildings are built, just imagine you build a bridge or you build a building. Now with all the computers, hardware and software tools you have, you can design the prototype and the building on the computer much better, much more in intelligent way than you could do manually if you don't have the computers. So digital technology applies to every sector of economy, including civil engineering. Okay.
Okay, Prof. There's more Mr. Modi. He want to come up. Kindly unmute your mic and you can speak up. We can hear you, sir. Mr. Modi.
Okay,
Yes,
hi,
please.
hi, good
Hi.
afternoon.
Good
So,
afternoon.
as both of the professors have rightly said, infrastructure is critical
Please,
to digital.
can we know you more? Your name and
I'm so sorry. My name is Modibo. I'm here
Modibo.
studying energy and power engineering at Tsinghua
Okay.
University in Beijing. I'm from Nigeria.
Okay, nice.
I'll just
Go on.
So,
Okay.
as both of the professors have rightly said, infrastructure is critical to digital transformation. Quite all right. But we need to also realize that infrastructure in Africa is practically poor, if not next to zero, because broadband is very slow and we have very little connectivity. So doesn't that make the whole talk about digital transformation rather ambitious?
Difficult.
Yes, and when you're talking about mobile devices, we have not matured as technological hubs to even create mobile phones, for instance, or even computers. So as long as we continue to import these things, the cost is always going to be relatively higher, and so we cannot get penetration towards rural areas because our uncles and aunties in the villages cannot have these devices in their hands and obviously cannot be connected. So if you cannot connect to rural dwellers, who are at least more than 50-60% of our population in Africa.
Okay, Mr. Modi, we get your point, sir. We get your point. Okay, Professor Chris, Professor Modi, can you quickly attend to that query, sir?
Yeah, as far as the infrastructure issue, as I said in my comments, that yes, it is a big challenge, and I think that I am not an insider. I don't have a good feel of how seriously the government is working. But one thing I can tell you from Silicon Valley, Google and Facebook and everybody is really eager and trying their best to help build internet infrastructure in Africa. We are, you can go read the details of what Google and what Facebook is doing. I would like to see that the government takes those initiatives seriously and works with these companies and organizations to speed up that infrastructure progress. Because as you rightfully so, if a digital economy, if you don't have infrastructure, then you really don't have foundation.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So quickly, Professor Chris, someone wants to know what's your advice about the chat GPT. What's your advice for we young people to embrace that? What's your advice?
Yeah. So
in our businesses and
yeah. Let me. I have been trying myself, and for other regions, because I have been also involved with the Google. So yeah, Google and their search, and I have seen Google when it was born and how the search was so big deal, and how search technology from Google helped create this new business and new company and became big. Now I from what I see from ChatGPT from in the last few weeks of it is quite exciting, and
okay.
I would hope that I'm very sure Google will come back. They had announced something called Bard, similar to ChatGPT, but they had some hiccup. The Bard did not give the right answer, and that was kind of embarrassing to the Google engineering people. But I know Google has tremendous amount of technical horsepower. Okay, there's no shortage of technology and technical horsepower. So they will try their best, because search is their bread and butter. They would never want to lose their search business, so they will try their best to. But for outside world, ChatGPT is a very important technology. What it does is, if you look at ChatGPT versus regular search gives you like links. If you ask question, they will give you X, Y, and then you have to read the link and then figure out what applies to you. Chat GPT is repetitive, right? It gives you a story, gives you the whole enchilada, detail. You don't need to go. There is something Chat GPT have to also improve. In short, it is a very good move. It will make search far more better. It will be a better tool, better technology for all of us. Okay.
Okay. Our time is fast spent. Still, we can accommodate 1 or 2 questions. Mr. Abdul Islam, I hope you can come up because the question I can see from the chat box is not that clear. If you can directly talk to our panelists, it would be nice.
Before we end, I will request you and Holda. I have shared my program slide for Tsinghua program. It has my information. I would like to see many of you attend, because one of my goal of doing this program is to invite as many young entrepreneurs from Africa and emerging countries to participate. And you not only learn from me, I invite many 20, 30 people like myself to come and join and have a discussion. So you can also find my WeChat ID. You can contact me and I'll be happy to have a discussion with you if you have any specific questions, okay?
Okay, nice one, Professor Chris. You can also share that flyer so that they can all see. Because
I think
many attendees are now connected, so that we can all.
Sure.
You have sent it?
Let me hold on. You have the slide, right? Hold on. Or I have to share it, right?
Let me share my screen.
Yeah. Why don't you share
please.
the screen and hold on, give them my WeChat ID also, right? Yeah. In fact, you will see this. There's a barcode on the bottom. It tells you all the details how you register for the program.
Dear Pro, please.
Right.
Dear Pro, please. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, Pro Chris. Yeah, okay. Yes, you can.
And you can hold on. You can send the participants my WeChat ID.
Okay.
I will be happy to. I will happy to discuss any specific question they have. Okay.
Okay.
But I would very much like all of you to attend, because the class gets very full. We have 400 or 500 people attend. So I would like to see, and we are also making that class a little more effective, more efficient. There's some improvement we need to do. But our goal here is to discuss all these topics you have asked and in more detail with so many experts from all around the world, okay, that I invite to this program. So please do attend. And last thought I will say, as far as Africa, digital economy and digital strategy, all depends on people like you. You guys are the foundation. And that's why I agreed to come participate in this discussion, because of the fact that you are 70, 80 of you here. They're all young entrepreneurs. You are the future of Africa. So your success is Africa's success. Okay. And
yes.
People like me are your resources. So anything we can do, please shout, and we will try to do our best. Okay, for you. Okay.
Okay. Thanks so much, Professor Chris. I think thank for your contribution, for your questions, and thanks also for our panelists for the insightful presentation. At this corner of today's webinar, let's respectfully invite the president of OAAD, the Organization of African Academic Doctor, His Excellency Dr. Elijah Odi, for a word to his community and to other attendees. Dr. Elijah, over to you, sir.
Hello, thank you very much, Kiki, for the moderation. Thank you, Holder, for also putting things together. And very big thank you to Professor Chris. It's good seeing you once again. It's been quite a while. And
yeah, good to see you. I thought you became a prime minister of some country, so you don't have time to talk to us. So I was looking for you. Good to see you. Good to see you, Odi. Good job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much. No matter where we get to, we cannot forget those who have contributed to our development and those who have been very strongly committed to making things happen. So the passion you've always brought to the table and the team you put together, we are always appreciative. Of course, because of the continuous growth and increase of our organization and the various things we are doing, I cannot always be, everywhere at every time, but we have a very beautiful team that is working hard. And at every point, we will have people who will make the best things happen. Just like our General Secretary Holder, who has been holding brief in many things of this nature. I'm very grateful for the team. Just as you mentioned a few minutes ago, the fact that we are the foundation, we are the future, we are, whatever is going to become of Africa will depend on people like us. Because socialization, civilization, human civilization is cumulative. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually already making the closing speech. So it's not something different. I'm not just having a conversation with Professor Chris, but for all of us. And Professor Mudit, who has also come to be with us, and other participants. It's a great experience, having to come together from time to time to look at these realities that face us with respect to knowing the challenges, knowing even if like some people asked questions, talking about the fact that it seems like the infrastructure for these things to run on are not on the ground at the moment. The fact that we are talking about it and the fact that those who are going to make things happen are on ground, understanding those things, from the ground up, that's a great achievement already on its own. Because when you become president of your country or prime minister or whatever position you take, like many of our members are taking up very important positions in their countries and around the world, in the universities, in ministries, different places. When you get in there, the little pieces of knowledge you gather from these deep conversations will become your instruments, which you use for influencing policy, for influencing the conversation. Because when you're doing your study, people are studying in various fields. You are not always likely going to encounter some of these knowledge even within your own field. But participating in things of this nature help us to pick up those things which can become very instrumental to making very important decisions that can help the continent make progress. So I want to thank very strongly once again, Professor Chris and his team at the SRI, and also the other people who have participated. And I'm wishing all of us, and of course, I'm also thanking the leaders of FAME, the Beninese association here, and all other people who have made contributions. Thanks to Kiki once again, thanks to Holder, thanks to all of you for making the efforts to make things happen. Great thanks also to the leaders of Organization of African Academic Doctors for the effort you've been putting in to make things happen, to keep the organization moving. Because the greatest thing we can do for ourselves as Africans, irrespective of the fact that we are divided into 54 countries and some other countries within Africa planning to come up, because many things are going on and people want to get more countries. Whatever number it finally becomes, we must always have a big understanding, a bigger picture, that if we are going to make anything good happen, we must think together, we must brainstorm together, we must understand that it's when we have that massive movement that we're going to get the resources we need for setting up the infrastructure, because some of this infrastructure will not come from the government. It may actually come from us, young entrepreneurs, who are able to mobilize money. Because when you have good ideas and you have the technical know-how, you have the balance, money is going to come for you. There's money in this world and it's going to come. We're going to make things happen on the continent. So thank you once again, everyone. And looking forward to seeing you participate in other events we'll be having, because we're always having one good thing or the other. Partnering with several organizations and persons across the continent, we know what we're doing because we know that we have to do it. It's our responsibility. And it's good that we have people supporting us. Thank you so much and do have a wonderful time. Over to you, please, moderator.
One more thing I'll say to you. You as a leader, you are doing a great job, because leaders' number one job is to create more leaders. So you can have more people do more things rather than just everybody depend on you. then you become a roadblock. So I think that's a big credit to you for
Thank you.
creating a Holder and others to take a lead, and so you can do many other things. So this is a good sign of a good leader. Okay,
Yes.
just keep up
Thank
the
you,
good work.
thank you.
Okay.
Thanks,
Okay.
Thank you.
President OD, for that thought-provoking talk. Over to you, Oda, for the closure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, dear professors. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, I can
Yes,
hear
you
you,
can be
Hilda.
heard.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, dear professors, Professor Chris, Professor Moody. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and delivering such a great presentation. I hope everyone enjoyed this wonderful conversation as I do. Thank you for having us, and see you in the next webinars to continue the conversation on African digitalization. Thank you very much, and have
Thank you.
a good night, a wonderful evening or afternoon. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you all, and just remember one thing: you guys are the leaders of Africa, so all depends on you. We are there to help you, so we are very glad to connect with you. Look forward to working with you. Okay.
Thank you, Prof.
Take care. Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Chris, how are you?
Hey, Monsieur, how are you?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm good, sir. I learned a lot from the today's event as I am from Bangladesh.
Yes, yes.
But the thing is, learning, we need to learn. But I had one question. May I ask a question in the ending time?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sir, just I have a queries like in developing countries, like if you think about e-commerce, like you gave the example about Amazon.